Hello, Larry.
Hello, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, sir.
Great, great. Glad to hear that. I was wondering if you're going to be available today. How's everything going so far?
Everything is wonderful, sir.
Great, great. What state are you in there, Jay?
I live in the greater Philadelphia area in Pennsylvania.
Okay, great, great. Okay, well, let me welcome you to my show, Speak with Larry's show. My company is called Speak with Larry, no spaces. And what I do is I help people set up the foundation of their online business while assisting them with becoming more comfortable speaking about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of in line with what you do, right?
Yeah, I was in corporate marketing for about 35 years, but I've been an entrepreneur for a decade.
Okay.
And I was primarily in real estate until the last year. I'm making a shift into network marketing because my wife and I'd like to be traveling, and real estate, I have to stay, here in Philly.
Right.
And network marketing is something that could be done virtually. So we'll be free to travel and build that business as well.
Great, great. That's what I love about it as well, because, I'm just with you as far as getting close to that retirement point, and I really look forward to it because that's exactly that's the world I want to become part of, full time. That traveling and I'm not really too much of the speaker as far as like with crowds and things like that, but I know that's a revenue stream, so I do incorporate that into the process as well. How do you pronounce your last name, Jay?
It's Leigeber. Leigeber.
Leigeber. Okay, okay. I said to myself, I know I'm gonna have difficulty with that name. I'm gonna have to ask him how to pronounce that. Okay, so what I want you to share with my audience, Jay, is how they can get started with their online presence, because that's exactly what you're doing. You actually create an audience, right?
Right.
So how would you suggest that they begin that process?
Well, every person's going to provide their own vehicle that they find the most compelling. I love network marketing because of the leverage that it creates.
Okay.
So the reason I got involved with real estate was so I could leverage other people's money, other people's time, other people's knowledge. It's all great, but you've got to have the location, remains the same where you're doing the projects. And beyond that, most people run out of capital before they reach their goals. Right. I have a 34-unit apartment and a 6-plex and a 4-plex, and it's all wonderful, and it meets about half my needs, right? If I had $1 million, I'd have more real estate. But
right.
So now I'm building cash flowing assets as opposed to buying them. But,
So I don't want to ask how old you. I don't want to ask how old you are, but I'll
66.
No,
66.
66. Okay, I'm 62. So I find from time to time myself being somewhat computer challenged. Are you that way, or are you pretty good with it?
I wouldn't say that in advanced programming, I don't do anything like that. But having 3 decades in the business world, I'm familiar with spreadsheets. I know how to, use the normal documents.
Right.
And from a technology standpoint, I've created a lot of videos for Facebook and for LinkedIn. I got a blog out there I call Enjoy Lifestyle Freedom that will direct people to if they're curious. So I'm familiar enough with technology now that they have dumbed it down and somebody like me that can use it. Right. But as soon as something doesn't work like I expect it to, that's when I contact somebody who really understands it.
There we go. That's right. We got to have levels, that's like I say. And then, when you're building, what I'll share with my clients is that when you're building your business, you're also building a team, right? A team of people that you want to access when you need something.
There's absolutely no reason for you to believe you need to do everything yourself.
Right.
Now, the problem with when I was in real estate only, I built a system all around me doing everything, as a solopreneur.
Right.
And the problem with that is when I don't do something, it doesn't get done. Right. Exactly. And how do you go on vacation? I mean, that's the bane of most people who have a small business.
Right.
If you can't go away for a month on vacation, go travel to Europe or whatever you want to do, the business owns you rather than you owning the business, right?
Exactly.
As soon as you have something where you have systems in place that can keep And that's the wonderful thing about network marketing is that, you know, my objective is to build teams that build teams without me, right? I want to educate them, coach them to the degree that they're building, and I may be off playing somewhere.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You know, and the business, you come back and the business is bigger than it used to be, right?
Right. So that's a good point. I'm glad you segued into that. So is it all like intuition that you decide on whether or not this person you want on your team, or do you kind of, how do you kind of weigh that?
You know, Larry, network marketing is something that is relatively simple to do, simple skills you can learn.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can take advantage of that business platform.
Right.
Most people are not ready to put in the effort to change their life. They'd simply rather complain about what they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love the quote from Thoreau in Walden that says, "The masses of men live lives of quiet desperation." And that's so unnecessary.
Absolutely.
Today, people have the opportunity to do so many different things. And so when it comes to who is going to get onto the team and who's going to become successful on the team, it's those people that have identified a real reason why they want to change. And if you have a strong reason why, the business itself is just a vehicle to take you from the current condition you have that's less than desirable than you want it to be, move yourself up as you grow in capacity to be able to do things. And so we help people become successful, but in the end of the day, if they don't have that internal drive, bound out of bed in the morning,
right,
anxious to get out there and spread my message. I talk about my message being, I'm a herald for the liberty of leverage. I believe that leverage is the key component that makes a difference in people's lives.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Most people are being leveraged as an employee.
Yes.
They're getting just a portion of the value that they're creating. When they can learn to set things up so they can leverage other people's knowledge, other people's efforts, other people's money, other people's resources in general, other people's systems,
right,
all of a sudden it can compound and they can create substantial value without it all being reliant upon their own activity. And that's what sets you free. That's what true liberty is about. You know, in the corporate world, I knew so many people that had very high salaries. They didn't have any time freedom in their life. They were missing their kids growing up. They didn't go to sports games because of, you know, to succeed in the business world, you're in there putting in 60, 70, 80-hour weeks.
Right.
And so what good is the money if you don't have the time freedom? On the other hand, there are an awful lot of people who have all the time in the world because they aren't out there hustling and they don't have the resources to live those lifestyle that they really want. And what I have found is that network marketing is the opportunity to put together systems that can give you leverage, that can create that time freedom and that financial freedom. Now, financial freedom means a lot of different things to different people. Some people, well, there's a lot of people, particularly in these days, you know, an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month would make a big difference in a life.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And there are other people that are really driven, that are more competitive, you know, that red personality that wants to beat everybody else in you know, in the race. And those people are looking, how do I create a business that's $20,000, $30,000 a month? Everything is possible within this environment. It's just a question of how hard you want to go after it, how much time you're going to put in, and how long you'll give yourselves.
Right. Because you have to put in the work. That's what I tell people all the time. You know, that 10,000 hours is a real number. You know what I'm saying? Because, and then you go ahead.
I would add, true mastery takes 10,000 hours. In order to lead other people, you just have to be a few steps ahead of where they're at.
Right, absolutely.
So I would not consider myself the master at network marketing today that I intend to be 5 years from now, right? Because the experience, but those next 5 years will be building upon each other, experience after experience.
That's right.
I am certainly in a position with the experience that I've had to be able to go take people hands-on and show them how they can become successful in the business.
Right.
And we'll move together as a team to help that happen.
Let me ask you this, Jay. How important would you say a mentor or a coach is in someone's life if they decide to start a home-based business?
So a mentor is essential. You can find mentors in many different ways. You know, a personal relationship with somebody that is watching you work, that is giving you direct feedback on what you're doing, is an ideal mentor relationship.
Right.
And, you know, I have a couple of mentors in the world of network marketing that I follow what they do because they have done what I want to achieve. And I trust what they tell me to do, I do, and I create success.
Right, right.
You know, but not everyone can always has the opportunity to get the mentors that they want.
Right.
You can read books, you can listen to videos, you can listen to things like this podcast.
Especially today.
Prove your life by hearing a variety of perspectives. And you can ask yourself, you know, what would Larry do in this situation? Because he has what I want in this particular area, right? And I look at your expertise as something to follow. And so that does, I guess all I'm trying to say is you don't have to have, you know, this personal coach that you're with every day. It's ideal if you can, and you will go much faster if you can. But you should look for guidance only from the people who have achieved what it is that you want to do.
Gotcha. Another thing I find with certain clients is that when they make a decision that they want to start their online business, my first thing is to tell them that it should be in line with something they have a passion for. And identifying your passion is not always easy for a lot of people. And I don't understand that. I don't understand how people can, it's you we're talking about, right? It's not me, it's you. You don't know what you like?
Well, and sadly, I think it is the case that there are so many people that have been told no most of their lives that they've forgotten how to dream. Our imagination is the point that's critical to value creation, to thinking out of the box.
Right, right. I can see that.
When we were all young, we all, you know, whether it was making mud pies and visualize them as real, it didn't matter what materials we had a very creative mind. And everybody can access that again. You just have to have the permission to believe that it's possible.
That's right.
I believe very strongly that while skills are important, like 90% of success is mental. When you see yourself in a position of having something of value to offer, and you get out there and you're doing it, and I call it a believer's heart. When you believe in your heart that you have something important to share with people, and you do it from a place of love, of giving, of trying to improve, from that servant leader, you know, it's servitude. I help other people get what they want in life. And when you come at it from that standpoint, that natural success that's still in you from the time you were as a child begins to reemerge because you believe in yourself.
Right, right. Let me ask you this, because I'm a person who I believe in astrology, and I believe in the universe, and I believe in nature and things like that. And I believe they all play a part in life. So I believe that what you just explained with that servitude and that giving personality, that giving mindset, the universe rewards that, you know, because it will bring people and situations into your life that wouldn't have normally been there, right? But the key to it is you having studied enough so that you understand that that's not just a wall, that's actually a door. You just have to open the door, because if you get the knowledge, it just looks like a wall to you, right?
So I personally believe that when we get in vibrational relation with these higher infinite intelligence, you can call it God. Well, I mean, I don't care what flavor your religion is.
Right, right. It's not relevant.
What I do know is there is something significant that's omnipotent outside of myself.
There you go.
Know that when I get in vibrational harmony, that superior power, I get into that state I call the flow state. You've heard about being in the flow, where I come to you easily, where you're doing much more productive things. And, you know, so often people think about small increments of growth. So if I did 100 today, how do I do 110 tomorrow? Well, you should be trying to 10x everything. Today, you should be looking for what would it take to make 1,000? What's it going to take to make 10,000? It's big steps that change the game in some way.
It does. Yes,
How you to get out of this small incrementalism. And I think that's how people will change their lives, when they begin to believe in themselves and they find a vehicle. And, you know, the real thing is that you've got to have this burning desire, whatever it is that you feel your purpose is, that you are here meant to do.
That's your passion, right?
That's your passion.
That's your passion.
Can
you listen to, Jay, can you listen to a person speak and see the passion coming out of them? You know, they'll feel that this person is passionate about that. Because I can do that.
Absolutely, because you feel it in the tenor of their voice, you see it in the eyes, and when people are committed to something, you know, it's that opportunity to believe that I was here for a purpose, and I want to leave huge ripples in my wake. You know, as the boat goes down the river and there are ripples that come after and they spread out.
Right.
And, you know, let's be real. I'm 66 years old. I'm 80% plus or minus of the way through my life, and I've accomplished many things. I want to help many more people accomplish positive things in their life. That's the ripples in the wake. That's if somebody comes across this message or other things that you've done or that I do, and they're positively impacted by that, and that causes them to take a positive step forward, then that helps add significance to the fact that we were here and having conversations and sharing information with more.
But you know, another thing about that is I realize is beautiful to me is that we may never know that. We may never
absolutely
know that person. We probably won't, you know, but because we did our part and provided the content, people were able to find it. That's what I believe in, leaving a legacy. Like I've got over 900 videos on YouTube already. 900, and I'm 62. So I look to live to at least 80. So, or if 90, if I can, you know. So if I'm able to continue doing what I'm doing, then it would be almost impossible for someone that's born today, as they grow up, not to access or cross paths with something that I've created that can help them, right?
That's a wonderful thing about the society that we exist in today, from the standpoint that if you go back 50 years, there were a very limited number of choices people had in who to listen to. Today, you go on YouTube and you find people who have a message that you resonate with, learn things, and it helps you advance and gives you confidence that you too can put a message out there that people will respond to. And it's just very enabling. I so believe that we are blessed to be living in this, you know, the epoch that we're in right now. Technology has come along. You know, a few years ago, in order to create something like this, there'd have to be all sorts of fancy equipment involved.
Right.
And today, you know, we go on social media and we connect and we say, hey, let's do this. Send a few emails, and all of a sudden we show up at the same time, and it automatically happens. I don't know anything about the technology of how this is happening. I know how to use it, and I know how to get a message out there.
Me too. And the beautiful thing about that is, I didn't know you before yesterday or before today. You didn't know me before today, but our paths can cross. And I tell people this all the time, because I'm an author too. I've written several books. One of the books I was going to write, I hadn't written yet, but I'm not really in a writing mood. I like doing videos. I like doing this type of technology now. But was going to be called The Day Our Paths Cross, because I believe that once your paths cross with someone else and you actually exchange ideas, you're never the same, because you can never say, I don't know Larry James, because you do now. I can never say, I don't know Jay. Say your last name one more time, Jay.
Leigeber.
Leigeber. I can't say I don't know Jay Leigeber, because I do. Even though we've never met personally, I can identify you in a lineup, right? So,
and you know, one person can make an entire difference in somebody's life.
Oh my goodness, that's true.
Listening to Les Brown today, and Les Brown talks about Mr. Washington, and you know, everybody was calling Les the dumb twin. And Les called himself that, and Mr. Washington says, don't you ever call yourself that again.
Right, right.
Other people's opinions lower your self-esteem. Think about how many people Les Brown has touched. Millions and millions of people.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
motivational standpoint and a leadership standpoint. And it's because that one person turned his whole psyche from one of disempowerment to empowerment, and let him to start believing himself. You never know who's going to be that person that steps into your life that has that message that enables you to dream bigger dreams. And once you stop limiting yourself in what you're trying to accomplish, all of a sudden then the right vehicles, the right mentors will come into place for you to fulfill your purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I want to talk about real quick was what's your take on the coronavirus and everything there's a lot of fear that's being expelled in the world today.
So I've never been through something like this that caused as much fear and trepidation as we have. I wish there was a little bit more transparency in the real facts. And what I mean by that is it's something like 0.1% is the chance that you're going to get the virus.
Right.
And of the people that get the virus, 98% get better.
Right.
And yes, it's a terrible thing. We're losing, I think, whatever it is now, 60,000 people or something have died.
Right.
But there are 360 million people in the United States, you know, and there are far more people that have died from the traditional flu.
True.
This coronavirus came about, right? So it doesn't mean we don't need all this protection, but all of a sudden, putting an additional $6 trillion into the economy, people can't go out, they can't do things. And, you know, I believe personally that things will change forever. We're enabling people to understand that they can do things online, they can do things virtually. We aren't going to need as many people sitting in offices. There's going to be more products that are offered online. That's one of the reasons I'm a believer in network marketing. Network marketing is a business that is done entirely online or on the phone.
Right, right.
You know, it's just things are going to change. But I wish, you know, I pray for the people who are experiencing loss. And the reality is the vast majority of people who are dying have other complicating factors.
Exactly, exactly.
And they were going to die for some reason anyway, you know. And so, yes, there are others that, you know, but I don't know. I mean, to put out a stop sign and say our economy is going to stop. We can't get around each other, you know.
Exactly.
You know, and so we should all be prudent. We should all wash our hands. And, you know, when I go outside, I put a little mask thing on, you know.
Right.
I'm told that's the right thing. I want to be a responsible human being.
Exactly.
But by the same token, I just believe that the news today needs a crisis. I mean, it doesn't, whether we're talking impeachment or whether we're talking, you know, I mean, whatever it is, want something that they can talk about that's a crisis. And this is the crisis of the month. And, you know, it'll be over fairly soon. And you know, I hope we all have learned better sanitary habits. I hope that we have learned, you know, not to touch our face and to wash our hands.
Right. And something else that I feel like people are going to come around to learning and realizing is that those bachelor's degrees and master's degrees are not the essential jobs in this country. You know, it's the laborers, it's the doctors, the nurses, the health sanitation workers, it's the truck drivers. Those people bring the food in, they bring the water in, they bring all the type, things that we access every day. So that's one of the things I love about the internet business, the online business, is that you don't have to have a degree to become successful doing what you love, and you can do that from home. Like I do 90% of the things I do from home, unless I have an engagement or an event that I need to go to. But I just like being where I can access it from my home, right? Because as we get older, as I get older, I know I don't really like going a lot unless I'm traveling. I don't mind traveling, but just going, to an event, 6 miles away, 5 days a week is not for me anymore.
I have watched NFL football games in a stadium. I've watched NBA games in a stadium. Quite frankly, I like watching them at home better. It's nice to experience it occasionally,
Absolutely.
I've been at the Indy 500 many times, but quite frankly, you get such a narrow perspective when you're in the stadium,
right,
as opposed to seeing all the replays. And now they're getting better with the big screens and showing you stuff. But it's just, we can be so efficient.
We're getting older. We don't need to be out there. That's like space. I equate that to space. When you're like 30, 35, you want that, 3,000, 4,000 square foot home, with all the amenities. And then as you get older, you realize I don't really use that much space.
Right. Yeah.
2 or 3 rooms, and I'm happy.
But, and I grew up voracious reader and have hundreds and hundreds of books, and I value reading in a book.
Right.
Tell you more often than not, this tablet, it's got like 700 books in it right now. And, I don't need to paper that much.
Right.
Take up a whole wall full of bookcase.
Thank you. Technology is incredible. That's why I say, like the majority of my clients are what we call people like us, the baby boomers. Right. So most baby boomers either are preparing to retire, have retired, or, getting ready to make a decision that they're going to do something before they retire. Like, I'm going to try to learn this process. I'm going to retire in a couple of years. I want to kind of be good at it by the time I retire.
Quite honestly, Larry, I don't really know what retirement means anymore. When you work for a company at a location and you were there for 40 years, right? But there is so much job transitioning that goes on. I was in the corporate world for over 30 years. And ended not by my choice with the last recession. And I became an entrepreneur, and I did the real estate thing, like I said, for about a decade. And I'm transferring over to the network marketing specifically because I want that location freedom. I want to be able to run a business wherever I want to be in the world at the time. And it just gives you so many choices. But my point is, there aren't many people that get a golden watch anymore because they've been someplace 40 years.
Right.
Because our fathers stayed a lot longer in an employment situation.
I think that I read an article about a year ago that said that the millennial generation will probably have like 14 jobs before they retire.
At least, and I'm a big believer in multiple streams of income.
Absolutely.
Something comes along like this displacement. I have the rental properties that are giving me the rent every month.
Right.
The network marketing actually thrives during this kind of a time because
yes, it does.
People are worried about, are their jobs going to be there? How are they going to pay their bills? And they start to think about, and they say, when's the best time to plant a shade tree? 20 years ago.
Really?
This environment of putting everybody under stress, people begin to think, gee, maybe I should have a secondary income.
There you go.
All of a sudden, if they get into it and they become successful, as you have become successful in what you're doing,
right?
All of a sudden they began to see, gee, this can be quite lucrative relative to what I was doing, trading all this time. And so all of a sudden, we have in the network marketing world, 95% of the people start with it being a side thing. And some people don't have success and they quit, and go on to something else.
Right.
People who stick pretty soon there are so many where that one of the parents is free to come home and work from home now, opposed to working a job, because, you know, when the wife is making twice as much on her network marketing business as the husband is making at the day job, all of a sudden that frees up opportunity for both of them to work it together, you know?
That's how it works. That's the beautiful thing about it. That's one of the things that, and I believe that the world is actually transitioning into more entrepreneurs, you know, because like you were saying, jobs are playing out. The days of 25 or 30 years on the job are all but gone, you know.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the robots and things that are making the cars today, and it used to take a lot more hands-on people putting the cars together, and now we're just supervising, making sure the robots are painting it the way it's supposed to be. You know, I mean, all that, everything is becoming aided, and that's a wonderful thing, because the human mind is creative. It shouldn't just be used for a routine, repetitive, you know, put this pin in this hole and do that 10,000 times a day. I mean, people sewing garments is something that should not be done one person, one machine anymore. You set up a computer and you let the big whiz bang thing create, you know, create them at 1/10 the cost, right?
That's right.
And they all come out perfect, you know.
And you increase the product. You know, you get 2,000 instead of 2, you know.
But what that speaks to me is that in the decades ahead, there will be more entertainment, more music, more art, more, you know, if you think back to the Renaissance, when things flourished, it was because technology had come along and taken care of a lot of the farming and stuff. And more of the bright people were able to express themselves artistically.
Right.
I believe that we will come into another one of these periods of just fantastic flourishing of the arts and music, and, you know, the videos that you are creating is an act of creative expression and how you're marketing those. And you know, it's a wonderful opportunity for people to identify what's missing in other people's lives and how can I help fulfill that. And when you help other people get what they want, I think Zig Ziglar said it, when you help enough other people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Right. That's how it works. That's exactly.
Let's come back to that service.
But you know, one of the things that I like to share with my clients as far as being able to identify what they have a passion for, if they really can't put their finger on it, I tell them, just imagine that you're walking into a bookstore or a library, now that you mentioned the books, and as soon as you walk into the front door, what section kind of pulls you that way, you know? And that's a good place to start. That may not be where you end, but that's a good place to start because you're interested in that. And it takes that type of interest to move the needle in your life, because you were saying, you said earlier about, I'm really big on setting up schedules, right? So when you first begin, I like a 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day process, right? So 30 days will let you know, or let me know, the coach or the mentor, whether or not you're serious about the next 30 days, right? Because I can't invest too much into you if you don't finish that first 30 days, because time is money, right? And you're wasting an individual's time when you pretending that you want to do something, and this person is, you know, taking the time out of their schedule, because they have a schedule too, to help you, right? So it's easier to dismiss, or to, you know, okay, well, this person's really interested, so I'm gonna give them a little bit more to deal with, right?
And of course, my focus is primarily on leverage. How do I integrate more leverage?
Right, right.
Saying that I put at the end of my emails that says more life, less work. I mean, that's an aspect of leverage. And, you know, it's kind of like, I like to joke a lot, and I say, I'm looking for 5-day weekends and 2-day work weeks, right? You're going to flip it, because if you have leverage,
right,
and you're free to choose how to use your day, you can accomplish full-time income with part-time effort. All of a sudden, that opens up all kinds of possibilities for what you do with your life. And so it comes back to just, and I realize most people aren't fixated on leverage the way that I am, but it was just one of those things when you start thinking about, you know, how can that one person with a lever pick up a, whatever it is, 20,000-pound car.
Right, right.
You know, it's because of mechanical leverage in that.
Exactly.
It depends on where the fulcrum is. And it's in our lives. How do we find those opportunities where we can create leverage, create more value, so we can help more people get what they want, and at the same time, not have to put more and more and more personal effort into it. It's not that I'm lazy. I want to be very productive. Mm-hmm. It's just, I want to be smart.
There you go. I was just going to say, that's what I call it, working smart, because you can work hard and you can probably accomplish some things, but you can't accomplish nearly the things that you can accomplish if you use this, because that's why you have that brain, because you have the ability to create. We're creators, just like the Lord that created us all. We have that ability to. We actually do create our own world, but only the successful people will admit it. Everybody else make excuses and say, no, I didn't get it because of this, or I didn't do it because of that. It was really because of you and your choices or your decisions you made. You know, because when you look at life, how life is from the time you were like in your 20s to the time you were in your 40s, now that you're in your 60s, if you think the way you did at 60, the way you did at 20, there's a disconnect there, right?
Because a person matures,
right,
has life lessons. You know, when I used to be in industry and I would be giving people evaluations and somebody would say, well, I've got 5-year experience. And I look at them and I remind them some of the things that they keep doing wrong. And I said, you just have 1 year's experience 5 times over, learning some lessons, all of a sudden you'll have opportunities for advancement. And so it really does come back to those questions of, are you learning? You know, I love failure from the standpoint that failure means somebody tried something that was beyond their level of competency. And if they learn a lesson from it and they're making incremental progress, you know, we'd never have the light bulb if Thomas Edison gave up before, how many ever there was, 10,000, you know.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, you know, that's, so more trying and intelligent trying and getting into insights with people who have done it before and trying to build upon what they're doing. You know, in the world of personal development, I love Think and Grow Rich. And one of the concepts that Hill talks about so much is the mastermind. And I love the mastermind because what that's saying is that when you have multiple perspectives, you can come up with a solution that meets the needs of what you want and what I want, and a solution that meets both of our desires, a better solution. And it also means I don't need to figure out everything on my own, because I can rely upon Larry to add his perspective because his life experience is different.
Right, right.
All of a sudden we get synergy that happens because two minds are melding on the same problem. And that's one of the wonderful things that's happening out of this whole coronavirus thing, is we're seeing such advancements in how quickly people are responding. Clearly, we didn't have enough equipment in the United States to meet a pandemic, right?
Right.
But when you think about how quickly we're getting millions and millions of masks and shields and clothing and respirators, and I mean, I don't know what it all is. And in these drug companies, they're doing all these trials of things, and the computers are whirling around and they're studying stuff, and they're saying,
like all hands on deck
over here. And all of a sudden, it was only a month and a half ago, none of us had ever heard of coronavirus.
True.
Right?
True.
And you think about all that's been progressing so rapidly, and it has to, because people's health is at stake. But it shows what a collaborative effort. If we had more collaboration with people working together, we could solve so much more. Unfortunately, today there is just so much, separation, my side versus your side.
Right.
And unfortunately, people seem to not want to talk together in a normal.
I feel like they'll change in the long run. We just got to get through this hard time right now. Well, listen, Jay, it's coming up on the bewitching hour, so I really want to thank you for showing up today and spending a little time here with me. Before we leave, could you give your email address or your website so that people can contact?
Sure. Well, I do a blog I would send people to. It's just www.enjoylifestyle freedom.
Is that with an I or E?
Enjoy with an E, enjoy
Okay.
lifestylefreedom.com.
Uh-huh.
And of course, if they go to me on LinkedIn, for example, just look up Jay Leigeber, Leigeber.
Okay, great, great. Okay, well, Jay, I like to end the show by saying my name is Larry James. My company is Speak with Larry. And as always, share with someone else what I've shared with you. Thanks again, Jay.
Thank you very much, Larry. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay.